Oliver McGee saw the interview as well. He's a Republican joining us now from Texas. Oliver, how are you, my friend?
Hello, mate. How are you doing? A wonderful interview with President Donald Trump, exclusive for you. That's wonderful, Paul. I'm so happy for you.
See, yeah, we get to you. We get to you first. You were the entree to the main meal, my friend. We appreciate that you join us yet again. Now, look, the Democrats, and I spent a bit of time in the first hour of the program explaining to everyone here, then we're not actually in an impeachment process yet. It's the process before a process. But what it's really about is because 20 Republicans would need to vote with the Democrats to impeach Donald Trump. It's all about putting the squeeze on about half a dozen Republicans in seats that the Democrats think they can win in 2020. Is that a reasonable observation about what all of this noise and all of this nonsense is actually about?
Excellent analysis, Paul. I think you have nailed it. But I'll add two more things for you, Paul. We're looking at the Russian hoax, too. This is called the Ukraine hoax. But this is all about Nancy being under pressure with her catcall to dump Joe Biden for Pocahontas Elizabeth Warren. But also, this is about the bombshell that's about to hit Washington, which is the Michael Horowitz report. I think that's going to be very damaging for the Democrats. I think that report is going to be so devastating for the Democratic Party and for American institutions. The American people are going to be very, very surprised with that Michael Horowitz drop. And I think that the Democrats won't be able to recover from it, Paul.
Well, because there's a whole collection of things in what you've just said that we could spend an hour talking about. But I think you're also onto something here too, where Biden is the one who is going to be most hurt by this inquiry. And I think partly the super progressive, super woke, social justice warrior caucus that are forcing her into this position, they don't want him to be the candidate. Elizabeth Warren is starting to move her way up the Democratic ranks. And frankly, I mean, the tape is there. It's there for everyone to see that Joe Biden says he threatened aid to the Ukraine if they didn't sack a prosecutor who was going after his son's company, right? It's a slam dunk. So that's going to be a major part of the political defence of Donald Trump. And because that's part of the political defence of Donald Trump, it's the attack on Biden, which means Biden, who's already wobbling, falls over, Warren up the middle.
This is Joe Biden's third time to run for president, and he has yet to pick up a delegate. He's going to be the worst presidential candidate that has ever picked up a delegate. That's awful. And the Democrats are shaking in their bones that he could be the standard bearer for the ticket. So they want to dump him. They want Pocahontas Elizabeth Warren. And that is a Donald Trump dream. He's going to have so much fun saying, Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas. And when he says that, everybody's going to burst out in laughing. And this is going to be a nightmare for the Democrats. I don't think that she is a slam dunk. More importantly, look behind the scenes in a Elizabeth Warren candidacy, Hillary Clinton. She is helping her. And if you look at this Russian hoax, now going to the Mueller, no collusion, no corruption, and no obstruction. And then you look at this Ukraine, no corruption, as they drop the transcripts today. I smell Hillary Clinton all over this because this is too much of a repeat of the swamp. And this is going to be a nightmare for the Democrats. They're so desperate that they can't have Donald Trump running in a landslide. And so what you're going to see is a big Democrat exit, what I like to call Dexit in the article that I wrote on my website.
Well, and there's a whole bunch of groups talking about this too. There's the Blexit is another group as well, which is about, again, people from minority communities. Get rid of the habit of voting Democrat and vote for somebody who's actually creating jobs for you. I mean, look, obviously, though, the problem with Pocahontas, right, is that while I agree all of the policies are terrible, she's in some ways the left-wing promise of revolution that Donald Trump created for the right, i.e. massive disturbance, massive change, massive disruption. Now, there's always the grand hope that lots of young voters will join and that's what will flip here. But what's your sense of the United States when they are faced with two revolutionary figures battling it out? Do they then pick incumbency over the devil they don't know? What are the factors that come in when you've got a populist figure from the right and a populist figure from the left, no one representing the establishment.
Well, when you have the populist figure in Donald Trump, he has two things on his side. He has incumbency, but he also has a powerful GDP. That works. Elizabeth Warren hasn't created GDP yet in her life. So how can she make the case? And if Nancy Pelosi has taken the bait, as she appears to have done, and go down the impeachment rabbit hole, which is going to go to nowhere, then Elizabeth Warren's going to be talking about all this type of impeachment investigation. And why do you have an impeachment investigation, which is really, this is really nothing, folks. This is a big nothing burger right now. It's not going to go nowhere, game over. Why do you have this right now? Because they need to put a smokescreen, because they're looking at the numbers too. Donald Trump is on his way to a landslide. And so if Elizabeth Warren looks like she's going to try to put a vice presidential ticket with a woman, and you have two women going up against two men, that's what you're going to have. This election is going to be along the gender divide. And that we saw that in 2016. What happens in that case is that people vote their pocketbooks, and they also vote for sensibility. Men in the family vote for sensibilities, and they convince their wives, especially in suburban red America. And they're going to come out more so in groves for that election, because Donald Trump's going to be on the ticket, and they're going to look at the Democrats going through this drama of the Kavanaugh hearings, and then the Russian hoax 1 and the Ukraine hoax 2, and they're going to see Democrats really don't have any new ideas. All they have is drama, and that's going to cause a Democrat Dexit. And that's a powerful word to say right now on your show today.
Yeah, correct. We also hear some evidence that suburban mums have some issues with the Republican brand, potentially in and around gun control. So I don't know whether that moves some things around in the next little while. We wait, we see. Just finally, though, President Trump gave a speech to the UN today, and I think anyone who doesn't understand Donald Trump or doesn't understand what he's about needs to sit back and take 30 minutes out of their life and have a look at this, because it laid out in chapter and verse very calmly about why he believes in borders, why he believes that culture matters, why he believes that entrepreneurship matters. Basically, clearly it was the best spin he could put on his own presidency, but he was able to weave in not just the promise of 2015-16, but the reality of 16, 17, 18 and now 19 to actually say there's some evidence that says these theories aren't just things you say on TV. Once you actually put them in place, things happen.
It sounds like Donald Trump has rubbed off on you, Paul, when you spoke with him, because you said that eloquently. I really love it. But what I took away from the UN speech is more than America first. His main quote that I took away was, he said, the future belongs to patriots and not globalists. Correct. That was so powerful, because he was throwing in, and he was so serious in the speech. He was saying, look, folks, if you want to go and take care of your people in your nation, and you want to take care of your patriots in your nation, you can be a populist leader, but take care of your people, put your people first, then you're going to survive in the future. If you're going to be a leader that is going to go against your people, against your voters, against democracy, then you're not going to last as a leader. And Donald Trump is also saying, look, Democrats, I'm talking about America first, but more importantly, I'm talking about making America great again, and I'm talking about the American people, giving what the American people want. And that is a great sell. You're seeing it at the rallies. He's going to have rallies every 48 hours with an average of 10,000 people or more, maybe 20,000 people at these rallies. The Democrats can't keep up, Paul. They cannot keep up. And you're going to see a massive, and I'll say it one more time, Dexit, Democrat exit. Because I like Dexit. I think Dexit is better than Blexit. I think it's more than Blexit. I think it is really tied to Brexit. Because what he talked about in that UN speech is he talked about trade. He talked about trade with Britain. He talked about trade with other partners at the UN. And he's saying the door is open in America, and no longer are we going to be basically doing unfair trade. We're going to go into fair and free trade. So come on board, because if you do not, you're going to be left behind. And that's how we're going to have a Democrat exit, but we're also going to have a landslide with Donald Trump.
I think you should register the name, find a trademark, because it'll end up on a T-shirt somewhere. Thank you so much, Oliver.
Thank you, Paul.